In this video, we will demonstrate the indirect-direct technique for the fabrication of a 3-unit provisional restoration. The procedure will comprise of an indirect section on a cast and a direct section on the prepared teeth, and will be carried out in the following steps. We shall also demonstrate how to correct discrepancies of the margins at the end of this tutorial. For the fabrication of the pontic of the provisional, fix an acrylic tooth using modeling wax in the edentulous space on the cast. Ensure that the occlusal level and buccolingual alignment conform to the arch. For the purpose of this video, the external surface form will be fabricated using a thermoplastic mold. The thermoplastic sheet is placed in the frame of the vacuum press machine. The cast is aligned to be in the center, and the sheet is then heated till it sags. The heated sheet is then lowered and the air suction is turned on to enable adaptation of the sheet on the cast. Now remove the cast and the mold from the machine. Ensure that the machine is turned off and all components are returned to a safe position. Once the mold has cooled down, it is removed from the cast. The excess is then cut for the quadrant required. Any irregular edges are rounded off. The abutment teeth on the cast are then trimmed using a low-speed handpiece and a thin burr. This provides us with the tissue surface form. Minimal preparation is done all around, which should be less than the anticipated preparation in the oral cavity. The mold is checked for clearance. Separating medium is applied on the cast and left to dry. Polymethyl methacrylate is mixed in a Depin dish. It is recommended to use 12 drops per tooth being fabricated. Do not remove the material in the stringy stage, as it may result in voids and is messy to work with. When the material has reached the early dough stage, it is removed from the dampened dish, molded by fingers to ensure homogeneity, and packed in the thermoplastic mold. Material extending into the adjacent teeth spaces is removed. The thermoplastic mold with PMMA is then inverted onto the prepared cast and adapted firmly to it. This helps to conform the material between the mold and the prepared teeth to form the provisional. The excess is cut away carefully. Note that you should remove material from the gingival embrasure area as well as the material that has flowed over the occlusal surfaces of the adjacent teeth. This will provide less chances of increasing the vertical height of the provisional, leading to the need of extensive occlusal adjustments intraorally. The thermoplastic mold is placed over the acrylic again and adapted to ensure proper adaptation of the material onto the cast, which may have pulled away while removing the excess. After the material has set, it is removed from the cast and examined for overextensions and excesses in material. Identifying the finish line extension is important so as to remove any overextensions that may injure the oral mucosa. The outer limit of the finish line is marked with a pencil, and anything external to it should be removed. While trimming off the excess, some precautions must be followed. Do not hold the provisional in a manner that you cannot visualize the finish line. This may result in inaccurate trimming of the finish line thickness. Do not hold the burr perpendicular to the long axis of the provisional. This would result in a discrepancy at the finish line area. Do not trim off the axial contour of the provisional while adjusting the thickness of the finish line. Holding the burr at a mild angle enables visibility of the finish line while avoiding reduction of the axial contours of the provisional. Trimming of the gingival embrasures can be done with thinner diameter acrylic trimming burrs. The same can apply for the interdental caul area of the provisional. Proximal excesses can be removed using a large acrylic trimmer to avoid scratches being formed. We shall now move on to the direct procedures that will be carried out on the prepared teeth. It will be seen that the provisional obtained from the laboratory will not seat accurately on the tooth preparations and may result in open margins and inability to close the mouth. Thinning out of the inner walls of the retainers and removal of the internal occlusal grooves will help in a better seating of the provisional and a more complete closure of the mouth. As the provisional will still rock on the preparation, it will require relining. Vaseline is applied on the prepared abutments and also on the proximal surfaces of the adjacent teeth. Blow away any excess using an air syringe. PMMA is carefully loaded in the retainers and the provisional is placed on the prepared abutments and pressed down firmly till final seating position, followed by occluding the teeth. Keeping the teeth occluded, the excess is gently removed using a curved explorer. Ensure removal of the excess in the interdental areas to avoid locking of the provisional against the adjacent teeth. The provisional is partially removed and placed back in a to and fro motion to ensure that the acrylic does not lock in any undercuts during its setting. Occlusal interferences are checked by using an articulating paper held between the maxillary and mandibular teeth. The teeth are occluded in maximum intercuspation. After removal of the interferences, the prosthesis is occluded. Check for marginal integrity of both the retainers. Check for intact occlusion between the adjacent unprepared teeth. The prosthesis is then finished and polished. This procedure will be covered in detail in a separate tutorial. Correction of any discrepancies can be done using the paint-on technique. Care must be taken not to apply too much material that be spread over the oral mucosa and irritate it. The excess is removed and the provisional is then finished and polished.